Now, in COVID-19, like I told you, the other theme that we are going to be discussing is on one side what has flopped and one which has been the big hit. Now, let's talk about the hit, gaming. People trapped can game a lot more, have many more legitimate hours to do it as well. So joining me now is the founder at Loco. He also had started Pocket Aces, the digital media company. It's Anirudh, the founder, joining us. Hi, Anirudh. It's always a pleasure talking to you. Thanks so much. If I could just put it very politely or in a different spin, the battleground has 300 million gamers. Right now, your score is 24 million registered subscribers. So I would imagine still a long way to go, a lot more that you can capture. But let's begin by asking you, how has the lockdown been? A massive surge in traffic, I would imagine.
Yeah, hi Nandara. So nice to be here, and always good talking to you guys. I think like you rightly said, the lockdown has really given an impetus to gaming, and new users have come into the fold, and old users' usage has really gone through the roof. And I think the other thing that's happened, which is very beneficial to gaming as a sector, is the fact that live streaming is now all around us. I mean, we are doing live streaming for classes, birthday parties are happening on live streaming. So live streaming as consumer behavior has become normal. So I think though that's a very big factor that has also happened. And together, those two things have given rise to the game streaming sector, and a lot of gaming now happens not just in hyper casual gaming, which I would say is kind of the entry into the gaming sphere for a lot of people, but also now through mobile arcade and battle royale gaming, which is kind of the PUBGs of the world, Free Fire, Call of Duty, these games which have picked up over 100 million monthly users between them in India, and therefore have given rise to a completely new sector of entertainment where people are actually watching other people playing video games, which is what eSports is and what game streaming is. And we've seen an unbelievable amount of growth on that, both on the streamer side as well as the viewer side. And of course, if you look at how much people are playing games in the, during the lockdown, that number's climbed up. But I think in the long run, when you look at what's changed, I think the rise of these games and the rise of this behavior where we're comfortable with live streaming will lead to this new sector of entertainment. And, at Pocket Aces, we always say that solving boredom is our aim, and Loco, which is our game streaming platform, is doing exactly that.
So you mentioned PUBG right now. So of course I have to latch on to that. For the interactive live streaming market, how big was it? And isn't that going to be like a hit then on Loco, because simply it's not going to be available anymore?
Yeah, so because PUBG was a big part of the gaming ecosystem, I think gamers and streamers are both figuring out what to do next. But I always compare that to saying, just because the Indian cricket team is not allowed to play in a certain country doesn't mean they cannot play in other countries or play in other grounds. And so I think Indian gamers and streamers will pick up other games, and then as and when PUBG becomes available, they will return to PUBG as well. So I think in some ways, there's, when anything big happens, your first reaction is just the surface level. But I think if you look through the second and third order effects, I think you're going to see a lot more games come to the fore. So a lot of other publishers have been encouraged by what has happened, and so they're pushing their games. Game streamers and gamers are now really starting to grind again, and are really determined to make their mark there. And all of them are now streaming very regularly on Loco. If you see, our numbers on streaming are up significantly. We're seeing over 1,000+ hours of live content being streamed every day, which is unbelievable given what our expectations were. And I think that you will see that the big esports champions of the world will soon start emerging from India. And I think PUBG set this groundwork for that. But I think given the ban, I think we'll see new champions emerge in new gaming categories, and some of the older and more experienced guys also adapting to some of the new games.
Right. So that's been the impact of that. But I also wanted to ask you some interesting insights, if you could throw it our way. You were talking about battle royale and all. So is it typically those type of games itself that are doing well? I would imagine that COVID-19, everyone is anxious. Maybe they want to play non-fighting games, but clearly that's not the case.
So I think, thinking about these games as just fighting games is actually not the right way to think about them, right? So a lot of these games have become virtual hangout spaces. And so, if you jump onto any of these games, they already have a social network sort of built in, and you get paired in a team. Soon you'll be making friends from across India. And, while I used to play PUBG quite often, and I, played some of the others as well. You meet people from all across India. You meet people from we met people from Sikkim, from Rohtak, from various parts of India, Delhi, Bombay, of course. So really, really, the penetrations all over India, and actually, you will find people doing fun things. If you look at the West, where a more heavier game like Fortnite, that has become even more experiential. So Diplo's held a concert on that. Marshmallows held a concert there. Nolan's new movie Tenet had its premiere drop inside the game. They've also built a virtual screen where Inception was screened. So really, this is the coming of age of the next version of hanging out online, right? When I was younger, we used to hang out on Facebook, and I think now people are hanging out on PUBG and this or these sort of virtual spaces. And I think you're going to see more and more of these sort of spaces emerge. And so our platform Loco lets people broadcast themselves in these virtual platforms and virtual spaces. So I think from to what you said, I think people are playing all sorts of games. So it's not just that they're playing these mid-core mobile arcade or battle royale games, but I do think that the time spent inside of these games is much larger, right? So the numbers we are hearing for this sort of um, game is north of 1.5 hours per day. So people are watching close to 1 to 2 hours, and then they're playing for 2 hours as well. So that's 4 hours of entertainment on a daily basis that's going into this, which is incredible. Hyper casual games, of course, 30-40 minutes, very, very normal per user. And I think you've seen that climb a little bit during this time as well.
Okay. Don't twitch at my next question. I'm sure you've already figured out what I'm going to ask you. How are you going? How are you going to challenge Amazon Twitch? What is your plan?
So I think we've the best way to fight Amazon is not to fight them in the Amazon. So we are building in a country which is mobile first, which the gaming community is mobile first. So we're building according to the gamers here. We've all the big gamers in the country and streamers in the country are now streaming on Loco. We're building according to the special needs of India, and I think that's where there's going to be a huge difference between the product that we have, and there is a huge difference between what Twitch has done. Twitch was built for PC gaming, and if you see all the large categories, it's America first, and PC gaming. India is not PC gaming; it's mobile gaming, and local content. So I think those are very different markets, and I think for us that will be a big advantage and a big head start. And then with these platforms, once people build their fan following and they build an audience and a community ultimately on these platforms, I think you will see that they don't leave that easily. And the other important thing is that we're building very specific tools that don't exist on YouTube or on Twitch, and that help gamers monetize their celebrity, monetize their skills and expertise. And then the last bit is that we are actually supporting the Indian esports system and building it from scratch, whether it is the teams. I've personally spoken to a lot of the teams. I'm friends with those guys now. Whether it's the esports organizers, we are working with all of them hand in hand and supporting them. And I think, such a big thing happened where a game got banned. We did not see any reaction from any big platform, but we are in the market. We have talked to all of them. We've held their hand during this time. And I think that gives me a lot of confidence that, we will build um, fast and will be more nimble than all the other big platforms, the giants. in this David and Goliath battle, David only has one advantage ultimately, that David moves fast. And so we are moving fast and we're building for India. And I think that's been a big advantage for us.
Building for India and the world, Atmanirbhar Bharat, even when it comes to the gaming segment. I like that. Now, I want to also ask you that when you do all of this, you've also got some fantastic collaborations. So let's first begin with the teams. You said you become friends with a lot of them and all of that. Can you tell me about Fanatics? What that has meant for Loco? Has it taken you to the next orbit?
Yeah, I think we've now at this point tied up with almost all the, sort of big teams in India, whether that's Fnatic. Now, Fnatic is an international brand. They've built the ecosystem, the esports ecosystem in the rest of the world. They have champion teams in different categories, whether that's League of Legends or different categories, and they've really built they've pioneered that space, whether it's their collaboration with brands like BMW or just the general push that they've given to this field. And to have them here in India is a big plus. They obviously have some of the big stars of the Indian gaming ecosystem, whether it's Scout or OS. And so working with them, we've not only really limited it to just streaming. We have streaming and content again, which is a big differentiator for us from other platforms, is that given our, that Pocket Aces has always been a company that is synonymous with innovative content. We're working with Fnatic on very innovative and new content pieces. In fact, we just released the new Fnatic content plan today, and they're going to be playing retro games on some days. Other days they're playing more battle royale games. So very interesting mix of content and streaming with Fnatic. But we also have some of the other big teams. Like we have all the streamers from Entity, guys like Jonathan, Ghatak. They're big names in the ecosystem. We have 8-Bit, which is one of the what I call the OGs of the gaming sphere. They are doing a great job. We have IND, which is one of the most underrated team, but one of the most consistent teams. So I think we are providing each of them a space where they can express themselves, and they tell us constantly, give us this feature, give us this support, and we are rolling that out, and we're rolling that out quickly. And if you call any streamer, whether that's a gaming streamer like Jonathan or a Ghatak, or you call someone like Tanmay who does more entertainment streams, you will hear from them that Loco is able to provide product innovation very quickly versus some of the other platforms which are taking very long, which makes sense because they're very large companies. So it's been a very exciting time for us, and we've got the campfire going. And now at this point, we have, I would say, amongst the top 100 streamers in India, we have about 40% of them on the platform streaming already, which is great. And they're providing the star attraction, while some of the younger kids and some of the younger streamers really get better and get popular on the platform as well.
And we have to start wrapping up, but I want to ask you one question, if you can let us know. I was talking to some investors, etc., and they were telling me how gaming is now a full-time profession. Of course, professional gaming would be. Do you want to give us an idea of how much gamers are making in the country, at least the top ones?
They're making a lot of money, so they're very comfortable. I think the gamers have different revenue streams now. I think that's really important, and I think one of the big efforts from our side at Loco will be to also add to those revenue streams, so that for some people it can be a part-time profession to start with, and then overall it becomes a full-time profession. So and I think that is the history of most platforms. If we can start with pocket money, then very soon we'll be looking at very professional type numbers as well. But the large streamers are making anywhere close to 20, 30, $40,000 a year, which is not bad at all. And they're making that through a combination of streaming, through a combination of in-app gifting and stickers and microtransactions that exist on platforms, through the content that they make, and of course the prize money that they win at these tournaments. And the last bit is, of course, something that we again facilitate via our talent management, influencer management unit called Cloud, where we allow advertisers to work directly with them in interesting ways. So they have a great future ahead of them. They are now drawing eyeballs. Some of the large streamers are now drawing bigger eyeballs than sports like Formula One or even the Premier League, which is unbelievable. And I think that the advertisers and direct to consumer lines that we're building, or revenue lines we're building, are not far away. So yeah, they are all doing very well, and I hope more and more people learn from their dedication and their craft and are able to entertain audiences in that manner.
I'm going to get you back on Startup Central one day to talk more about that, because can you imagine the plight when people go to their parents, mummy, papa, engineer nahi banna, doctor nahi banna, gamer banna hai. We're going to talk about that, but on another episode of Startup Central. We're completely out of time. Many thanks for watching this edition. We'll see you again on Monday.